Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an absolutely fantastically incredible day. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Cryptocurrency friendly trading platform neobank known as Revolut, that's revolution without the ocean, is wrapping up its crypto services within the United States amid the ongoing regulatory uncertainty. It's been about 3 years now. It's really funny. I sat here thinking it was 2022. Nope. The year's basically almost over. It's going to be 2024 before we know it. There has been the ongoing topic of companies within the cryptocurrency space who have been desperately trying to get paperwork and or just have proper regulatory clarity or rules in some sort of way. I used to make jokes at the end of 2019, just move. Just go away. Just go somewhere else. If the U.S. If the U.S. SEC refuses to give you proper rules and regulations and paperwork that you've been asking for the last 5, 6, 7 years, well, simply just go somewhere else because the rest of the world continues to turn. Since then, we have heard that Kraken has ended or is ending their U.S. operations. Same exact thing with Binance US. They are only I think you can still trade and withdraw, but you cannot deposit US dollars on their platform. There were rumors that Coinbase was going to do it, but Coinbase simply doesn't have the cojones to even think of doing something like that. And Gemini also announced before that they're also going to be expanding into Ireland, and also they're trying to go to Dubai as well. Those are just the major cryptocurrency exchanges that we currently have. I have hypothesized that for a while, I think that the lack of regulatory clarity is obviously at this point on purpose, but I think it's because they were and still are trying to pave the way for Fidelity and BlackRock, and that was only solidified as we heard the news earlier over the course of this year. So now Revolut, another company who has been trying to be regulatorily compliant, has once again announced that they are going to be leaving the United States. Soon after announcing a partial delisting of certain digital assets from their platform, Revolut took a decision to suspend all their crypto services for U.S. users, the firm said to Cointelegraph. For those of you who missed it, I made a video, I think about a day or two ago, I think that was the timing, where the U.S. SEC has officially announced a number of 48 different cryptocurrencies that the SEC claims are unregistered securities. Part of the problem is they don't give a reason why, and they probably never will. The issue is these crypto exchanges usually want to know why something is labeled as something and another coin not. But the SEC doesn't work that way. So on top of crypto exchanges getting in trouble earlier this year for having coins listed on their platforms that no one told them not to have on their platforms, a lot of them also got in trouble for offering cryptocurrency related products. That is to say, things that give you a return or offer some type of a passive income kind of thing. It's still mind-boggling to me, like in every single possible direction, why the U.S. SEC is doing all of this. I know it's to give the larger people, the Fidelities space within the cryptocurrency market, but it's like it's just so backwards to think that you have a country that says let the market decide, but they won't let the market decide. The SEC decides that they are the market, and they get to decide who actually ends up making money within the country. It's very, very odd. Together with its U.S. banking partner, Revolut will be working to suspend access through their crypto platform starting from the 2nd of September. That is to say, if you have money on Revolut, if you know a friend who has money on Revolut and you are living within the States, take it off very quickly. The firm will then completely shut down their crypto services on Revolut on the 3rd of October. That's an adequate amount of time. There's no one who can say that they simply didn't know. 3rd of October is a really good amount of time. A spokesperson from the online bank said, adding, and I do quote, "The access to cryptocurrencies through Revolut will be fully disabled and U.S. customers will no longer be able to buy, sell, or hold any cryptocurrencies," end quote. The Revolut representative emphasized that the decision to leave the U.S. market will impact only 1% of their company's customers. 1%. The representative also stressed that Revolut will continue to operate its non-crypto business within the United States. I assume they also do stocks, as most companies now, they have an app. I don't use Revolut. I assume it's all financial services kind of wrapped into one, and they also have a cryptocurrency part of their platform as well. Yeah. Relatively popular or unpopular news, depending on how you want to look at it. I don't blame them, not even 0.5%, because if I ran a company and had been trying to get a stack of paperwork for anything more than 6 months, I think would have annoyed me. And to think that some companies have been trying to get regulatory clarity for 7, 8, 9 years and there's still been nothing, I would also completely just go somewhere else as well. Even the idea that this is only affecting 1% of their money or 1% of their customers, if you will. I like that everyone else has begun to realize that whatever form of high-level corruption there is going on within the United States, that is not to say that other places are not corrupt, but I mean on the basis of just give me rules and regulations that everyone can simply move to another place, take their business elsewhere, and they'll still be able to make a large amount of money. So, yeah, unsurprising. I assume we will be getting other companies stating the exact same thing, especially as we get towards the end of this year, because it just seems completely logical at this point. And just a reminder, the people from the SEC said 2 months ago they believe it will take them 3 to 5 years to give any type of cryptocurrency regulation. So I think the market's just going to love that. That's the Revolut is closing their U.S. Portion of their platform. And yeah, let's move on. Also wait, is this it? Yeah, okay, here we go. Hashkey Exchange and OSL Digital Securities Limited have won Hong Kong's first crypto exchange licenses under a new regime that allows exchanges to service retail customers. Hashkey Exchange, a unit of digital asset financial services firm Hashkey Group, announced the license on Thursday, saying it can now expand its business scope to retail users. In addition to professional investors it has already been surveying. The announcement was followed by another from OSL Digital Securities Limited, a subsidiary of Hong Kong's BC Technology Group Limited, that it also had obtained a license to serve retail customers. Quick recap. Hong Kong announced in January they would have cryptocurrency regulations within 6 months, and then on the 1st of June, they did. So the whole 3 to 5 years for the US SEC is nonsense. The other part of it is that since cryptocurrencies are now legal within Hong Kong, the regulators there announced that they would be giving out, you could apply for a license to have your cryptocurrency exchange be legal within Hong Kong. We normally, alwaysly, hear that Coinbase and Binance are usually some of the first ones to actually get the licenses in any different country that they're moving around in. I'm sure none of you, maybe one person, sure, why not, has heard of Hashkey And yet no one else has probably heard of OSL Digital Securities Limited unless you are in Hong Kong. So I assume that the first licenses were given to companies who were already doing business within Hong Kong. Makes a lot more sense as opposed to prioritizing other companies who are overseas. But yeah, it begins. Because it always ends up making the news. This is never a non-news moment. The moment Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, and Binance get their Hong Kong licenses, there's going to be news about it. How do I say this very quickly? A lot of the news that we've been getting over the last couple of months is that there's now speculation that two things, that the Hong Kong cryptocurrency market is a test run for China to see if it works out well, how it works under, a regulatory climate, and then maybe it could be passed on into China. That's kind of one of the ideas for what a lot of people believe. And what was the other one? It was something similar along the line. I think it maybe had to do, first of all, the fact is, for those of you who still don't know, cryptocurrencies are still legal within China. What's illegal is trading them back and forth. You can't swap from Bitcoin into Ether into this coin into that. You can't do that. You have to go to an over-the-counter market. You have to literally go into a physical location. You have to show them your ID, and then you have to sell crypto this way. And then you receive the money from it. This is why they do it, to have as much control as possible. But they also say it's against anti-money laundering, yada, 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 the entire story. So the idea is also that people from China will have an additional place to be able to buy their cryptocurrencies from a regulated country that is next door. So lightly popular news. This kind of made a couple of websites. I know it's not the most exciting thing, but if you were here 6.5 years ago, 7 years ago almost, you remember that Asia controlled the market. And now between Hong Kong, Japan, and South Korea, all having proper cryptocurrency regulations, I still do think they're going to absolutely absorb and control the cryptocurrency market over the next couple of years. And I think a lot of people who are ununderstanding don't see it coming, won't see it coming. Yeah, that's the Hashkey and OSL Digital Securities news. And yeah, let's move on. Also, in unsurprising news, according to the latest data shared by a crypto analytics platform, addresses referred to as whales within the crypto ecosystem holding large amounts of crypto assets within their portfolios have been increasing their holdings once again in recent times. This is probably the most surprising news that we've never ever had before in the history of this channel, because rich people are never buying cryptocurrencies. Why would they be doing that? Sentiment, a crypto analysis platform, shared updated data on the transactions made by addresses holding at least 100 Bitcoin, which is a lot. 100 Bitcoin doesn't sound like a lot until you realize how much Bitcoin is, and you're like, oh, it's a very rich address. Holding at least 100 Bitcoin in their portfolios in the last 12 weeks. Despite the downtrend in prices, addresses classified as whales who hold significant amounts of crypto assets in their portfolios have continued to add substantial amounts to their holdings in recent weeks. Addresses holding at least 100 Bitcoin have added over 27,000 Bitcoin, according to the latest data. Yep, we get this news all the time. There's a little blurb right there from Chainalysis. It says there are currently 15,870 Bitcoin addresses holding at least 100 Bitcoin. These addresses collectively hold 11.5 million Bitcoin. I'll say that one more time. There are less than 16,000 addresses. Imagine 16,000 people walking on the planet right now are currently holding 59.2% of all the Bitcoin. These are the people who've been buying for the last couple of years, every time the prices go up and every time the prices go down. We had news recently as well. What is it? I forgot what it was. Something about like addresses that have only ever bought, they're continuing to buy. And I think we're near, I think it's 70 or 75%. I think that's the number of all the Bitcoin supply that has currently been minted or created is also being held by these individuals. Yeah. The Bitcoin holdings in these addresses have increased by 27,755 Bitcoin in the last 12 weeks alone. So this is probably putting us in a, and I mean, once again, it's a number of factors. It's mainly that these people have continued to buy for a number of years, simply because they have the extra funds and or they might really, really like Bitcoin. But this puts us in another situation that I always like to think about and or go over. If we end up hitting that illustrious $1 million Bitcoin in the next, what is it? It's supposed to be 2032, less than 9 years. These people will have, I mean, it's a gigantic, substantial amount of money, but this news is more so to continue to tell you about the whale accumulation, simply because I think a lot of times this news goes overlooked, or usually all the time. A lot of people are more concerned with Bitcoin's price, how high Bitcoin is, and that's when Bitcoin actually ends up meaning something to them. So if Bitcoin fell down to $18,000 right now, a lot of people would stop paying attention to it until it got maybe back above 20. The fact that we're at near 30,000 and we see this low level of like accumulation sentiment from people who are actively within the crypto, that is to say, like people who are watching this channel every single day and other channels. However, the whales continue to buy, so it's more so telling you that, and I'm going to continue telling you this until we get to like $250,000 Bitcoin, because I really want you all to understand that rich people are absorbing all of it. You can't talk about less than 16,000 addresses holding 60% of all the Bitcoin. And if you want to even be more realistic with it, how many of these addresses belong to like the same person? You know, you can have multiple crypto. Anyway, that's the, was this Chainalysis? No, the Sentiment. Sentiment has said within the last 12 weeks, another 27,000 Bitcoin has been accumulated just by addresses holding over 100 Bitcoin in them. That, don't forget, every other address that has 99.9 Bitcoin, they're also still accumulating as well. Always keep that, keep these numbers in mind because they do definitely mean something. That's the people are still buying news. Make sure you're paying attention. And yeah, let's move on. In probably what is more confusing to people than anything else, several companies have reintroduced applications for Ethereum futures ETFs, with the SEC reportedly prepared to review these submissions. However, approval is not guaranteed. They're the SEC. They are special. Meanwhile, analysts foresee a 65% likelihood of the SEC accepting a Bitcoin spot ETF over the course of this year. Many years ago, there was a lot of excitement within the cryptocurrency market about the prospect of us having Bitcoin futures. We ended up getting Bitcoin futures, was it September or October of 2017? It was somewhere roughly around there. And the idea was that this would allow financial institutions to, mosey their way into the cryptocurrency space without having to actually directly get into it. As long as they were interested, everyone was fine. A lot of people then began to release articles that I was like, oh, that makes a lot more sense, where basically people found out that allegedly throughout history, within the United States, every time that a product got a futures product, it was usually used to manipulate their price in some sort of way. That is to say that, for those of you who have forgotten, I think it was sometime in 2018 or 2019. You can definitely look it up. It's on the internet. The former head of the CFTC, I believe that's what it was, CFTC, the former head, said that the only reason why Bitcoin futures were allowed to happen within the United States was for whales, basically rich people, to bet against the price of Bitcoin and move the price of the market down. He said that a lot of people, he didn't say who, but we can only assume higher ups, were quite afraid that Bitcoin's price was going to continue rising above 20,000, and they wanted to put a stop to it. And they did so by basically betting against the entire price of Bitcoin as heavily as they could. This was also around the era within the cryptocurrency space where you remember every Friday there was news for some reason that if Bitcoin futures were lower, Bitcoin's price also had to be lower. It was absolute nonsense and made no sense, but the news kept on saying it for like a good year and a half until it finally didn't anymore, because a lot of the futures trading platforms had nearly no, volume. No one was using them anymore. You might remember back then in a bunch of other places. So recently in the news, it has popped up that a number of companies are applying for Ethereum ETFs. What a lot of people are missing is that the futures word is in there. Futures do not deal in crypto themselves. They are basically digital forms of a representation of that crypto. So basically they would be traded in US dollars, and that's period. That's basically as far as it goes. It has no actual, or should not have an actual effect on Ethereum itself. It's simply another derivative product that people can trade without actually having to get into the cryptocurrency space. The confusion is a lot of people saw this news that Ether and ETF were in the same sentence, and a lot of people began to say, okay, well, this is, another crazy moment for Ethereum because Ethereum is going to now go even higher. The people who are trying to get these applications put forward are basically trying to have another, how do I say this nicely? A lot of companies realize that there's no way for them to actively get a proper Bitcoin and or Ether physical ETF with the company actually accumulating coins. So this is another way for them to say that they're within the cryptocurrency space and or can get institutional investors into their pockets, basically, without having to actually deal with the fact that the US SEC won't give them a BTC ETF. Futures within the cryptocurrency space tend to not be as popular. Sometimes you will see that on a good day, they may have around like $12 million worth of volume. That is comparative to $48 billion at the same time for the actual coin on a cryptocurrency exchange. So it's significant in that the US SEC is probably going to give a thumbs up to this. There's no reason for them not to do it. It's simply that the US SEC before stated that they didn't want to push any of these through. Apparently, they're now A-okay with trying to review a whole bunch of these. Very big news. This was very, very popular news. Everyone was talking about it. Another company called Direccion. I assume the Direccion, I don't know, I was thinking of like Xena with the X, has also filed for a Bitcoin and Ether ETF. The daily leveraged and inversive exchange traded fund issuer Direccion has filed for Bitcoin and Ethereum future products with the US SEC. Many people are forgetting to write in their title that they are futures. They are not the same thing at all. Ethereum ETF race gets hotter as SEC receives 11 filings in 1 week. Yes, for futures. When we get news that there is going to be an actual Ethereum ETF, I assume that will also cause a whole bunch of hubbub similar to what's going on with Bitcoin, at least at the moment. But yeah, this has significance in that there is a market for it outside of the cryptocurrency space, but this will have, or should have, depending on who's lying to you, little to no effect on our market, as they will not be accumulating the crypto. They will be dealing in US dollars. Yeah, very, very, very popular. Everyone has been going over it and discussing it, talking about the implications of it. However, these are only going to be futures, which the SEC has allowed through before, but only to manipulate the cryptocurrency market's prices. That's the Ethereum ETF futures news. And yeah, let's move on. Sure, why not go for it? Coinbase has announced the release of their Ethereum bridge and NFT minting on their layer 2 network solution that they are calling Base. It is a terrible name, especially if you know anything about the 1980s and or early 90s, but it's short for Coinbase. It's just not there. Base is set to launch its mainnet, launch their mainnet already after opening to developers back in July. For those of you who missed it, Binance years ago announced that they would be creating Binance Smart Chain. They had to actively, openly, multiple times, because people are ridiculous, they had to continuously announce that it was not there to be a rival to Ethereum, as if people should actually care. You all talk about a free market so often, but anytime that something comes out that looks similar to some other thing, none of you think a free market. Everyone just simply panics and goes, that might destroy the thing that I've been buying and using. I'm still not understanding how a lot of that is supposed to work. So Changpeng Zhao came out and said, nope, the thing that we're creating is actually meant to help Ethereum lighten some of its load, make sure that people have another place to be able to make NFTs and make cryptocurrencies and blah, 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 you name it. He said it. Binance Smart Chain and Binance Coin have done exceedingly well over the course of the last 3, 4, and 5 years. It is a coin that a lot of people think, or at least years ago, were announcing that they believed it could be something similar to holding Amazon stock. For those of you who missed it, years ago, Binance Coin used to be like $1, then it was $10, then it was 80, then it was several hundred, and people are like, if they keep burning their coins, of course, then the sky is the limit. Piggybacking on top of it, Coinbase for a number of years has been teasing that they were going to do something similar. They announced earlier this year that they would be creating a brand new layer 2 solution for Ethereum, sound familiar, that they were going to call Base. And the idea of Base is that it would be another layer for Ethereum to take some of the load off, to allow people to create NFTs and to create coins. Right, you get the entire picture. So now this thing is finally releasing. They also, they had like a day and a half. People don't scrutinize Coinbase as much as they do Binance, but that's an entirely different discussion. Coinbase did have to come forward at some point to say that this was not going to be a rival to Ethereum because it was going to be on top of it. And why would I say that? Because before in the past, there were many coins, EOS, that launched on top of Ethereum, and then their plan was to go onto their own blockchain and therefore usurp Ethereum. So regardless of what gets built on top of it, a lot of people still have to announce we are not actively trying to push Ethereum to the side. Whether you believe that or not, I have the idea that if you are a multi-billion-dollar company, I think you would not shed a tear if your coin ended up making it and Ethereum faltered. You would go, oh no, we're richer. I'm so sorry for destroying the other chain that's out there. The Ethereum bridge will allow Base users, terrible name, users to transfer tokens, including ETH, between Coinbase's network and Ethereum's blockchain. This was previously impossible as developer access released in July only allowed one-way transactions to Base. Starting from the 9th of August, users will now be able to mint NFTs on Base and claim digital ID or crypto usernames on Coinbase's wallet. Coinbase has also partnered with OpenSea, Atari, and apparently Coca-Cola. Okay, to power user rewards. I think the idea of more layer 2 solutions is fine. I think when the actual mindset is there to actually help the community and help the network, we can never know what the true motive behind a lot of this is. That is to say, when Visa announced a couple of months ago that for those of you who missed it, that Visa had found a great new way for transactions on Ethereum. It was for you to send your Ether to Visa, for Visa to send it to another party, and then that party either sends it on one more time to another clearinghouse and or sends it to the other person on the receiving end. And Visa heralded it as the greatest thing since cryptocurrencies. We now have an easy way for you to send your crypto around the world, as opposed to just being like, wait, I could already do that simply by just using the Ethereum blockchain. The point to be made is that Coinbase did not make this because they want to make the world a better place for you and for me, if you know the song. They're doing it because they're going to be creating other coins on top of this as well. Other companies will now be able to go to them and create it on top of Base, as it is another layer. They'll also be able to launch more stable coins. If all this stuff is launched on top of your layer, who gets the transaction fees? Right, it's Coinbase. So there's always a hyper money ulterior motive. It's the same exact thing whenever we get those, I hate those things, from those companies who make these like statements like, we're doing this to help everyone because we want everyone to understand how special they are. And it's like, no, you're doing it because you want more money. You've looked for and have seemingly found another way to be able to do this. Not going to give them too much slack. It's more of a cool, go for it. I hope it ends up working out. A lot of these other layered solutions tend not to do too well. I assume that this one will do just fine because it is Coinbase, and this was not, I hope, was not made very willy-nilly. It was probably thought over for a while. They have a lot of people who suggested that they would be building on top of it as well, because this is how Coinbase is planning on making extra money, because Binance continues to take all of their business because it's Binance. So yeah. Base has launched. It's out there if you want to go use it, if you want to mint your NFTs on top of it. I hope this actually does something to ease the stress on the Ethereum network. Between Ethereum and Bitcoin right now, the amount of backlogged transactions is a bit scary and needs to be resolved very, very quick. Because we are not at a $50,000 Bitcoin. We are not at a $3,800 Ethereum. Because when prices rise, there's going to be more network activity, logically. And the issue is, if they can't handle the network activity right now with prices this low, I don't know how they're going to be able to do it when everything is going absolutely insane. So hopefully they take 10 to 15% of the network transactions to make it a bit easier on the Ethereum network until Vitalik Buterin descends from the sky one day and gives us that illustrious 1 million transactions per second. That's the Coinbase has launched Base news. And yeah, let's move on. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters, Jim, Jimmy, American Crypto Academy, Bodie McBoatface, Sam Ratter, Dotha Diddy, Manny Cryptos, Crypto Gambino, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Jamie Saad, and let's move on, Empire Queen, Roman Gaba, Bitcoin, Ben Arachno, Dave the Dealer, Zen, Captain Summing in the Z-Way, Lay, Mobarazi, VB Nerd 21, Lauren De Silva, Quoted Biddy, Troy, All Good, Space Case, Need a Miracle, Paternoster, Navarro Williams, Utopia 569, Moonman, High XRP, Nostromo, Don Sarsen, The Animal Reader, Bibliophobia, Adam Graysick, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Setsuna, Paxis, Jim Garner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Yes to Crypto, Anytime Fitness, Monks Corner Staff, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger, Machonisa, and On Crypto with Lionel. Thank you all very, very much for your support. Thank you to everyone who is a member of the channel. Thank you to everyone who left a like, a comment, or who has subscribed. You can even see it up here. Yeah. Pending transaction, 75,000 for Ethereum. 75,000 transactions are being waited to be processed on the blockchain, and Bitcoin has 175,000. It's completely out of order, and I hope somebody gets that in check soon, because if we roll into 2024 with that, we are going to have a lot of problems. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.